Strategic Hotbox with Dr. Brandi Luv Stankovic. Discussing leadership, business, and how to take control of your life and achieve greatness. From the streets of Las Vegas, energized, informed, and never diluted. It's time to kick some ass.
Welcome to the Strategic Hotbox. My name is Brandi Stankovic. I'm an executive coach, motivational speaker, and as you know, a lover of all things human interaction and dynamic, and really which leads us to our topic today, and that is personal selling. We've had a lot of conversations about personal brand and leadership and how it all kind of comes together. And today it'll all be brought together by our special guest. Today we have with us Matt Garner, who is a partner at L&L Motor Company. We're going to get to know him in depth as we go forth here a little more. But I wanted to kind of give you a glimpse of that because we've actually, our pasts and our histories have been aligned. He was kicking ass, and then we came in and we were in strategic consulting together, and then he's been, kicking ass ever since. But during that time, it was a formative time for me in my consulting career, in my presentation career. He put me through the ringer a few times. I feel like that's fair.
We both went through the ringer.
But we are going to learn about him and his experience in this arena in just a second. But as always, I'm going to frame the topic for us. And today's topic is how not to be a used car salesman. So let's get started. So as you know, we break up the podcast into three segments. We've got the learn, the love, and the kick ass. In the learn segment, we're going to talk today about sales, as I mentioned, and bringing it into the personal selling aspect, bringing it into selling from a product or a relationship standpoint. And we'll, kind of talk about each of those areas. In the love segment, of course, we're going to have some deeper conversations or more conversations with Matt and his experience in that area. And that gives us an opportunity in all of the podcasts to have a conversation with a subject matter expert. And then finally, in the kick-ass segment, I'm going to ask you to start doing something differently today, because really that's what this is all about. The Hotbox is a place for us to attack different topics, to chew on things, to exhale or to exhale and inhale, and just to share that concept and these ideas, and really just be together in a way that are about making things happen. Because so many times people in leadership, so many times people in business, so many times in life, people are just out there living, as opposed to really getting things done and being the people that they want to be and experiencing the things that they want to experience. So today I'm going to ask you to start kicking ass, and I'm going to give you some tools in order to do that. So when it comes to sales, how many of you out there have had a sales job? Right? And think about sales, maybe not in the traditional sense where you were, pounding the concrete, right? But you could have been in retail. You could have been at a restaurant. Maybe you worked at a call center, and being in sales is really tough, both being responsible for having certain metrics to meet, but also just in the idea of having to ask people, influence other people to purchase on, for you or on your behalf or because you think it's a good idea. And so sales has definitely gotten a bad rap over the years. But from my perspective, one of the most important things when it comes to sales is product knowledge. In fact, it's all about product knowledge. So whatever it is that you are offering to people, offering to society, then you have to know it better than anybody else, inside and out. You have to live it. You have to breathe it. I was recently at some sort of spa trying to look younger, right? Because, that's essentially what I live for these days, right? And so I asked the people, what should I be doing? And the person at the front desk was kind of just looked at me and blinked a few times, like that she had never been asked that question before. And I'm thinking to myself in that moment, if she doesn't know, then who does? Right? Like, who am I supposed to be asking this question? I mean, it's a pretty fair question. What products, what services, what best, at your salon. It's not like I'm asking her about the shop next door, right? But it's about just her knowing the most that she can in that moment. And I'm asking, in her place of business. And it's important that your employees or you know the most that you can about what you want to offer and be ravenous about that. The second concept that I want to share with you is this idea of making like Madonna and being a virgin. And what I mean by that is pretending it's the first time every time. I want to tell you somewhat of a kind of a personal story to frame it a little bit. And that is when I had my first baby, James. You've seen him in shout outs. You know about him at this point. I've been talking about him, but he is 6 years old. But when I first had him, so 6 years ago, I'm just not very good at being pregnant. I'm not one of those chicks that only looks pregnant from the side and any of that bullshit. Like I'm like the worst chick at being pregnant. I want you to know that. But nonetheless, it was a hard, just process for me, just a long 9 months, whatever. And I go in, I was in labor for over 30 hours. It was just, we were at the hospital for a very long time. So I was exhausted. My husband was exhausted. And my water had been broke for 12 hours at this point. And so the doctor said, hey, it has to be a C-section. And it wasn't something that I was planning on, right? I mean, it goes from thing you're having this perfect baby and all this stuff. And then suddenly it's 1 a.m. and my parents had gone home for the day. And now I'm having to have surgery? Like, wait a minute, I just wasn't planning on this. And we're getting whisked away into this emergency C-section middle of the night. And then we're in there and the nurse is flirting with the anesthesiologist. Legit, like flirting, like, you did so good. So stuff. And I'm like sitting there going, I know I'm pumped full of the drugs that he's in charge of, but what? I mean, what's happening, right? And then they start talking about lunch and all of this stuff. And then they forgot to let my husband into the hospital in that moment and let him into the hospital room because they make him wait outside until you're all ready and sheet up and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, where is my husband? And I'm like, I'm going to throw cuss words at this point. Get my husband in here. And I finally, like when we left, I said to the doctors, I'm like, this may be the 50th baby that you've delivered today. This may be the 1,000th baby that you've delivered in your life. But God damn it, this is the first baby that I've ever had. Yeah. This is the biggest moment of my life. And you're treating it like it's nothing, right? And so what I'm conveying to you and sharing to you in this thing is that make it the first time every time. When Journey comes out on stage for me and sings Don't Stop Believin', I don't care if it's their 11th lead singer. I really don't. L&L needs to kill me with Don't Stop Believin' and share it his soul like I've never sang it before. Because that's what I want as his patron, as his listener, right? And that's what sales is to me. So that kind of falls in line with this idea of getting pumped up. And part of that product knowledge, part of that first time every time is really the concept of getting as pumped up as you can. And so you got to see a glimpse of my friend here. And before he's officially,
yes.
After that story, I feel like I need a little journey in my life. Yes. Thank you. Don't stop believing. I am just a small town girl after all.
Absolutely.
It's true. But before we used to, back in the day, would get pumped up before going to presentations.
Yes.
And we'll see if Scott has this one on file.
Oh, no.
We used to listen to the Holiday Inn by
the way, this isn't like a 2004 Ford Taurus that we're sitting in, cranking the music up, right? I mean,
Chingy and Snoop Dogg, the Holiday Inn. Anyway, so on the way to get presentations and things, we would get really pumped up because what was really important to me in that moment, the reason I'm sharing it with you in this sales and talking about sales, is the idea that you want to give the best that you can be. You have to deliver your best. And so
yes,
I really hope those that are listening to podcasts can hear this right now. Because can you picture two urban people just like getting fired up?
And it would do it for us, wouldn't it?
It really would.
It really would.
And look where it's brought us in career. I mean, let's be honest. So thank you to Chingy for making that masterpiece of a song for us to do. All right, so final thought, because I really want to get this over to officially introduce Matt and all his credential, is we talk about the Harvard Business Review has an article about sales and the importance of sales, and they break it down in two categories, and that's empathy and ego. The best salespeople have a combination of good empathy and ego. Ego because it drives competitiveness, it drives results, it gets shit done attitude, right? And then the empathy side of things, because of the fact that you're creating a relationship with the people that you're serving. You're creating a relationship with the product. And I have a quote that we used to use in the back of the day, so it's a shout out to, and I'm using this entirely for Matt's kind of benefit, but it's very applicable to those that are listening and hearing it for the first time. But Harley Davidson, the motorcycle company, is arguably one of the strongest brands on the planet. And they have a quote by saying that we don't sell motorcycles. What we sell is the ability for a 43-year-old accountant to wear black leather, ride through small towns, and have people be afraid of him.
I love that. I love that. I love it.
It's just so true. And the fact that what they sell is an experience. What they sell is a feeling. And that's what's so important. And when we talk about sales here, that's what we want, that message that we want to get across. So now, without further ado, I want to officially introduce Matt.
So glad to be here.
He is a partner at L&L Motor Company, as I mentioned. They have so many brands: Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Ford. But you're also an adjunct faculty at Utah State University, and then you have lots of degrees, finance. You have your MBA, and you have a full family. You have 4 children, which I feel like is a feat.
Full schedule. Absolutely.
It really is.
You know how it is.
So thank you so much for being
having
here.
me. I'm
Welcome.
so excited to be here with you. I'm back with you again.
And
it's so fun. And in Vegas.
Chingy,
we have Chingy. We are ready to roll.
We really are. The Holiday Inn.
I love it.
Honestly, though, the clients that we were working with,
they had no clue.
They did. And
Maybe
they saw us roll up in the Ford Taurus.
It was
out
horrible.
Front going,
it was pretty bad.
Is this really where our money
really
is
happening?
spent?
Did
right
we pay
now?
for this now?
We paid for
absolutely.
that. So tell us a little bit about your journey in leadership and business.
I think that I've always just loved sales. Ever since I've been, 10 years old, I've had the lemonade stand, everybody knows about. And I think that it's, something that...
as everybody knows, it's a live podcast. And I want Scott to know, Scott, the music is still in our ears. So
look, I'm trying to talk to Brandi and not sing at the same time here.
Away,
what the heck?
But I want everyone to know that's on the podcast is listening right now. We're rapping away and... Well, you guys didn't hear the fact that
it was good.
So at least it just wasn't in my brain, right? That it was actually in my ears. Okay, Matt.
But getting back to it,
tell us about your journey.
I have always loved sales. I think that everybody can relate to some point in their life where, if you've had the lemonade stand as 10 years old, if you've been, like you said, in retail sales. I just love it. And I think that there's a real passion always been inside of me with sales. I love engaging with people. I love the chase of the sale. I love closing sales. I love the whole process of really getting to know people and providing them with products and services that benefit their lives. And that's a real kind of joy that comes from sales, and I think it's in your blood or it's not in your blood.
That's true. Some people are cut out for it more than others.
Definitely. Yeah. I loved what you talked about though with product knowledge. When you go into the spa and you ask the spa lady, hey, what should I be doing or what is good for me to be doing right now? And if that person can't tell you about their products and services, it's just default nowadays. You have to know your products and services. You have to know. And you and I did this all the time on the road. Different credit unions, banks, companies that we went and visited with. Product knowledge was such a key component of our training because if you don't know the features and the benefits of your product, how does your customer even engage on a level with you to get beyond that, to start building the relationship?
Right.
And I think I think there's a newer way of selling now, which is what you're referring to in, the anesthesiologist not creating an experience for you as the first time having a baby. I think the old way of selling was, hey, this is the product, this is the feature, this is the benefit that you're going to get from it. And now I think customers just expect that. Right. When they come on our car lot, when they go to the grocery store, whatever they purchase, they just expect employees and salespeople to know their products and the benefits and features they have. What they're looking for beyond that now is how do I emotionally and what feeling do I get when I interact with your company? And I think that is the new way of selling now. It's not about products and services. It's about the feeling and the emotion that you get.
Totally. And that then becomes your approach to selling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, what's the whole point of that? Well, the whole point of that is how do you make what you sell unique? I was telling you, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I literally can sell, like, we have a Chevy GM store, literally 100 yards up the street from us. They are selling the exact same product that my dealership is selling. There's nothing about my product and service, or excuse me, there's nothing about my product that is different from that dealer. You can shop me. It's the same Chevy. It's the same GMC. It's the same Cadillac.
Right.
If you go up the street, same car. What do you get that's different when you come and buy a car from me? That's what customers are looking for. That's what people buy, is that emotional experience, that feeling that they get when they come and do business with you.
And so what role then does personal selling play in the overall sales process? How do you keep from being a used, grimy salesman?
Exactly. I think that you've just got to be hyper-focused on, creating and building a relationship. When I started, I jumped out of college and I came to work for a consulting firm, which you're aware of, that we both worked for. And I had an amazing mentor. She had been an executive for IBM. She started her own consulting firm. This woman was like incredible. And I literally traveled with this woman for, my mentor for 3-4 years, and just tried to match and mirror what she did. And really what she taught me was, this is how you are going to make our product different, by creating relationships, by building value, by, one thing she always told me, which I have taken with me to this day, is never allow your relationship to become a vendor relationship. We are always business partners. And, if your customer perceives you as a business partner or as a friend, you can always, continue to sell products. She could go in and close a $45,000 deal in 40 minutes over lunch that I couldn't do in 6 months because of a relationship she had.
Right.
And she never abused that relationship. I mean, in sales, when you look at it and you look at the relationships that you build, it's so much about, if I abuse this relationship, if I lose trust in this relationship, how can I regain that? And it's hard to go back and say, hey, will you buy from me again when you've lost trust? But it really is about, that connection, the relationship and connection. Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell us about, do you have a horrific story or something that you can share?
Yeah, funny? I was thinking about this because we had talked, and I
really hope this story doesn't involve me.
It doesn't involve you at all. I promise. I promise, Brandi. But I do have good ones. If the listeners would like to email me, I can shoot out some
hook them up with
some web. Yeah, exactly. We had a customer come in, and where we sell is a rural area, and this customer came out, started her car, and went back in her house, came back out, and she had a snake that was literally on her heated seat, like just kind of laying on it. And
because why wouldn't it? It's warm.
Exactly, it's warm. Obviously leaves the door open, runs back in the house, and gets her husband or whatever, comes back out to the car. The snake's gone. She refuses to drive it. Who wouldn't? She says, I'm not taking this car. Anyway, she has it towed to the dealership. We put it up on a hoist, try to find this snake. I am horrified of snakes. Mind you, my office is right next to the bay that they pulled this car into. So I'm like, get that car out of here. I do not want that car in here, but could not find the snake anywhere. There was no way I could convince that lady to take her car back. She was not getting back in that car. She was not going to drive that car.
Was it a brand new car?
No, I don't think so. But the relationship was, she had an experience with that car that she could never forget. A snake was on my seat, and no matter when or if I'm driving this, I'm always going to have that fear or that relationship with that snake coming back up in the car. And I think people associate that with products and services. It's my relationship or whatever emotion I get from my interaction with a company or, it comes back to you. We talked.
So do you send her rubber snakes for Christmas or something? Right? I mean, I would.
It was a great opportunity to sell a new car, right? But I think companies nowadays do a great job with this. Like, I love Discover Card's new commercials that they have out where they talk about, we treat you like you want to be treated. It's like you're talking to yourself on the phone. I love that. The Awesome Sauce commercials, and it's great. Les Schwab with tires does a great job, basically saying, it's you that really matters. And they tell stories of their customers and how they break down, and then how Les Schwab has, changed and helped them. There's great emotional ties to those companies, because it's not about their products. It's not necessarily about their services, but it's about that emotional connection that they make with their customers. And
if you think back to the Super Bowl, it's been a little while ago now, but if you think back to the Super Bowl and some of the commercials that we had during the Super Bowl, I feel like there was a major theme of love and support and unity, right? Which is everything that's happening in the United States. But there also is this kind of elevated level of experience, right?
Sure.
I mean, what's her name that did the car commercials, and she was called to do the different volunteer efforts? Melissa McCarthy, right?
Yes, right? Yep.
And that was the best commercial, was it not? I mean, she just was experiencing all these different...
Getting all these calls, going everywhere. Yeah, I loved that. It was great.
And it really is about that, that people want that. It really has less to do with what the commercial actually is, and that was a vehicle commercial,
it's
right?
Like Hyundai doing the vets or the actual active military. Did you see that? Where
yes,
Hyundai had,
where they were sharing, they're watching the Super Bowl together.
Yeah, nothing to do with car sales, and they got their families in these like little pods, and they all watched the Super Bowl together. How awesome was that? Yeah, it's great. So
if you could share something, an action or takeaway for people where they can go home and implement today, what would that be?
I think the biggest takeaway today has got to be that emotional connection. If you're just starting in sales, if you've been in sales, really evaluate and look and say, what kind of emotional connection am I making with my customers? And does it have anything to do with me? Does it have anything to do with the company and how they experience my company? And, really evaluate that and say, how am I building relationships? What feeling do my customers have when they interact with me? And what am I doing to continue to, foster and grow those relationships with my customers? If you can learn that quickly at a young age, you will have great success in sales.
One of the things that we talked about before that we came on the podcast and things is about the relationship, or that some of those generalizations that we have about people that work in auto. Right. Yeah. And so I was sharing with you when we purchased the vehicle, how I always want Jimmy to come with me because he works at BMW, and I just want him to start telling me how it is, as opposed to all the fluff or circles or that kind of stuff. I want to just, okay. Tell me and I think there's even a radio ad here in town that talks about, a tiny, or I think it's a comedian that comes and says, a tiny unicorn jumped and messed up my air filter. Oh, okay. Well, but just this idea that sometimes you feel like you're just getting swindled, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so how do you try to cut through that?
I think that really starts initially right when the customer comes onto the car lot. You'll go to some car dealerships, or you'll go places, even retail stores, and literally when you walk through the door, you're swarmed by salespeople. Yeah. And that initial experience that you have almost, just deflates the entire experience out the gate, because, you're just swarmed by salespeople. You feel all this pressure. You don't have time to look. You can't really, like you say, get an idea or think or know what's...
So you empower your people to be able to...
Exactly. Yep. Really
have that relationship.
Give my salespeople the opportunity to make decisions. Give our salespeople the opportunity to lean towards the customer and make decisions that benefit the customer versus not necessarily maybe benefiting the dealership. And in the long run, it always works out profitable. Yeah, it benefits everybody, definitely. And I think that's where it lies, though, is that initial approach with your company. What do you experience when you first walk in the door? What do you feel when you pull up in the parking lot?
Are you feeling the Holiday Inn?
I'm feeling the Holiday Inn.
I mean, that's it. I really, it's only fair that we have a Mariah Carey moment, right? Where it's our earphones, things aren't the same.
No,
diva.
And we were lip syncing for just a second there. I mean,
what was funny in that is both of us were trying to continue on in our discussion.
I can't talk with this going.
I know. I was trying, because I figured eventually it's just
it's got to stop.
It's going to stop. But I have a feeling that I'm just going to have to pull it out.
Yep.
Well, thank you for being here. What was that? What did you say?
We love it.
Thank you very much for being
here
and joining us.
So
if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, how could they do that?
So you can reach out to me. My email is matt, M-A-T-T, at llmotor.com. You can visit our website, llmotor.com. Check us out. hook me up on LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you're at. I'd love to hear from people or help out wherever I can.
Excellent.
For sure.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Brandi. It's
Appreciate
great being here.
Yeah, you being here and hassling and laughing a little bit. All right, let's go out to the shout out.
All right, my name is Rob. We're listening to Brandi on Strategic Hotbox. Yeah, oh yeah.
Thank you again to Matt, and thank you to Rob. It was a late night of tequila and solving the world's problems, and then Rob, gave us a shout out here at the Strategic Hotbox. So appreciate that, and all the people that have sent shout outs to us. If you'd like to send us a shout out, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to thestrategichotbox.com, and there'll be more information there for you to submit, and you can send us a video shout out. We'd love to put it here on the podcast for everyone to see. So now it's time, your favorite time, for us to kick some ass. So it is your top 5 kick some ass. Number 1, and one of the most important that I think that Matt has reiterated that I was talking about, is you have to know your product. When it comes to being in sales, and now product is a loose term, right? So if you're just talking about services that you offer, consulting you offer, like right now, obviously I know my quote unquote product of planning or even podcasts, that kind of stuff. I know what it takes. And so I'm able to then talk about and live it and breathe it and be it. And that's key, because if you really care about what you want and you want to sell it to somebody else, they're going to want to know that you believe in it and that you're passionate about it. And being passionate about it requires you to know it through and through. Number 2 is to know your customer. So whoever it is that you're serving. So if it's through music, and some of the other guests that we've had, and they serve people through music and art, whether it's through, actual product sales or on the car lot or in a financial institution or anything to that, or real estate, and all the different, if you think about all the different subject matter experts that we've had with us, you have to know the people that you are serving, know the people where you're delivering your products, know what they want, empathize in that from the Harvard Business Review's perspective, know how you can deliver that offering, just like in the Harley Davidson, know that experience that you want to provide. Number 3 is to re-virginize, right? First time, every time, make it special. Sing Journey, sing rap music, sing whatever it is that you want, just like it's the first time, because it may be a special concert to one of the people that are out there listening. This may be the first opportunity or the last opportunity that you have to connect with somebody that it connects with you, right? Or the delivery or the service or the art or the craft that you want to portray in the world, and give the person what they deserve. Give yourself what you deserve, and that's to make it like it's the first time every time. Number 4 is to pump up, like the Arnold, right? Pump you up. There's some major muscles that just happened there. You see that? So pump up, like get yourself excited, because if you're not excited about your product or service, who's going to be, right? And so that requires us to know it and energize and re-virginize and all those things, but really just to be in it, be engaged. And the final thing is to know yourself. Know what it takes to get you to the place that you want to be. I think all things leadership always end back to the personal leadership and perspective. What can I do to get better? What can I do to be the best that I can be? What can I do to kick ass? And that's what I'm asking you to do today. And that's to get out there and know your stuff, know your product, know your customer, know where you want to go, and then make it happen. Let's go out there and kick some ass. There's your top 5 kick ass. So thank you again to Matt for being here with us.
Great.
We'd love to hear from you on topics that you'd like to tackle here in the Strategic Hotbox podcast. Share your thoughts and questions with us on Twitter at Brandi Luv, BRANDILUV, or Instagram at Strategic Hotbox. You can always email us, podcast@strategichotbox.com. And for ongoing access to me and any executive coaching tools that I have, leadership development exercises, worksheets, books, and a network of people that are wanting to make shit happen, visit thestrategichotbox.com to learn more. But until next time, get out there and kick some ass.